I was born and raised in New York City, in Manhattan, at various times living on the Lower East Side or on the edge of Harlem. And my parents were in New York City because my dad, from 1941, was in the national leadership of the Communist Party, which was headquartered in New York City. And I was born in 1942, and I lived in New York City until I graduated high school. And I would say, while there were many parts of that growing up that were much like a lot of other high school kids in New York City, that for me it was colored, it was shaped by my father being a leader of the party. And when I was quite young, starting from the time I was about 5 years old, the subject of government indictments and imprisonment under the Smith Act for allegedly teaching the forceful and violent overthrow of the government of the United States. So those were hard times, and I associate much of growing up in New York City with the tension and the sense of the family being under attack and deprived of rights and normality and so forth. On the other side of it, there was an incredible radical and left subculture in New York City, in which I found a lot of support and richness, and had an affinity myself to many of the principles of that world. I mean, I'm not just talking about the Communist Party world, but there were all kinds of people that were in pro-labor, pro-worker circles, who identified with the good cause in Spain, the early civil rights movement. And also I can remember in 8th grade being with some friends riding roller skates around Manhattan on a Saturday, and we were trying to figure out a destination. And I remember saying, the Security Council's in session, let's go over there. And we did. A bunch of sweaty teenagers showing up at the United Nations. But if you lived in New York City, you could do that. So it was a mixed bag, but it was definitely tied with my family's politics, the life they led, and the price they paid for those politics at that time.